Hi everyone, Sandman here. This video is brought to you by a donation from Dean. He didn't give me a specific topic, so I want to cover a story that might be old by the time I release this video, but I don't care. The first story link in the description is called Angelina Jolie loses her team's trust amid Brad Pitt's custody war. Apparently she's losing the battle to keep sole custody of the children. She's lost a lot of weight and looks like a walking skeleton. This is turning into a battle between He-Man and Skeletor. She's quickly changed from being Evil Lynn to donning a more skeletal appearance. What judge in his right mind is going to hand over half a dozen kids to Skeletor? In a video I did before called Brangelina No More, I said that this divorce would be the catalyst for Jolie's eventual death. She's scared of dying from cancer, so she had all kinds of reproductive organs harvested for research. But apparently she's still smoking like a chimney and drinking like a fish, and the only weight she'll be gaining is the ink from any new tattoos that she gets. Here's a short line from that article, and I quote, "Angelina Jolie's aggressive attempts at getting sole custody of her kids have reportedly backfired. Rumor has it the Maleficent actress begins losing her team's trust amid her ongoing custody war against Brad Pitt." Unquote. Apparently she tried to get people that were close to her to say that Brad Pitt was abusive, had anger management issues, but no one came up with any proof, so it all backfired. If you're going to make allegations against a man, you need to have evidence in the eyes of the law. It might have actually worked against Bill Cosby, but it doesn't seem to be working against Brad Pitt. That alone is a testament to this guy's character. Jolie has done what she can to make the guy look bad by suddenly canceling visits with the kids and making it difficult for him to see them. My suspicion is that when she cancels these visits, she tells her kids it's their father's fault to begin with. But now he's going to get more visitation rights because both the FBI and Department of Children and Family Services investigated him for allegations of child abuse and didn't find any wrongdoing. They probably interviewed each of these kids asking if their dad was bad, and they probably said he did nothing wrong. Remember folks, these guys are professionals at finding pedos and abusive parents. Just because a woman makes a false allegation, even if she's famous, doesn't mean that she can beat the FBI. Also keep in mind that because everyone has heard of Brad Pitt, the police officers, many of whom have probably gone through bad divorces themselves, also look up to the guy. They respect him, which is probably something that feminists and the supporters of Jolie will try to spin in that direction. But if you were a cop working this particular case, you would probably side with Tyler Durden as well. Because Brad Pitt is going to get more shared custody, that also means she can't go for as much money as she'd like to, and that's probably going to make it harder for her to turn the kids against their father. I've spoken before how women like to have the impulse to turn children against their own fathers. I think a lot of it has to do with evolutionary biology, where a woman gets older, she needs her children and grandchildren as a retirement policy to keep her in high heels when she gets old. Before social assistance, family was all you had, so if an adult child took the mother's side over the father's, then they would most likely spend more effort taking care of their special aging mother, instead of their disposable bad guy father that supposedly abused their mother emotionally and possibly even physically while they were still younger. Mothers love to paint fathers into monsters, even when there's nothing wrong with them. She's probably going to claim that their father is a cheater and a bad man. But Brad Pitt was with Jennifer Aniston and dumped her when she turned 35 and hit the wall and chose to go with Jolie, who was still pretty much in her late 20s and still had her looks. I've spoken about this before, that men seem to have this instinct to leave their partners around the age of 35, if they haven't had any kids to begin with. It's almost as if the guy biologically knows that he's with the woman that's infertile and he can pretty much smell it on her, so he tries to latch onto a woman that's roughly 5 to 10 years younger. This, I believe, is the male version of hypergamy. And Angelina Jolie probably understood this, so that's why she probably decided to have twins with him. If he didn't have biological children with her, it was probably more difficult to keep him emotionally connected to her brood of virtue-signaling adopted children. She probably thought that she could trap him with his own kids as a result, and she could also be abusive as much as possible, demanding whatever she wanted, and he couldn't leave her. But now that she's losing, apparently she weighs barely 80 pounds. She's apparently wearing multiple layers of clothing, a bonnet, and sunglasses, all to hide her problems. This is a woman absolutely obsessed with her looks to the point where she has eating disorders that are killing her. I don't really see her living past the age of 50 and will probably become like the female version of Michael Jackson, all frail and sickly looking. Her own father, Jon Voight, said that if she had not become an actress, she would have ended up in the nut house. She hit back by saying that Jon Voight was also mentally ill. There have even been reported stories that Angelina Jolie signed herself into a mental institution so that Billy Bob Thornton would actually marry her. Talk about playing the ultimate victim card. Wouldn't it be ironic if within 5 to 10 years Jolie was the one with visitation rights, while Brad Pitt was the one with sole custody of the kids? kids. That's why she's probably going to commit suicide by alcohol and cigarettes. Just because she got her reproductive organs hauled out of her like a trash can doesn't mean that she's not going to be getting lung cancer from smoking those doobies, or esophageal cancer or cirrhosis of the liver from all those drinks. At 80 pounds, all it takes is a fat house cat sneezing on you, and you could be dead. Unfortunately for the cat, if they kill you, there won't be much left over to eat. Poor, poor pussycat. My guess is that Jolie's smear campaign against Brad Pitt has failed miserably, and as a result, she's freaking out. Because she realizes that she's probably not going to be able to maintain the lifestyle that she has because she's not getting any movie roles anymore. She's too skinny and she hit the wall like Harry and Marv from Home Alone, and now she's unsuccessfully trying to become a film director and producer. Her career as an actress is gone, and she's not very successful in her new line of work. Now her kids might be gone to Brad Pitt as well permanently. There really isn't much left for this woman to live for with regards to her losing that weight, and that should be seen as a suicide cry. I'm just really worried that she's going to leave behind 6 grieving children because of her desire to virtue signal to the world, that she can adopt a child from every single continent and have 2 more to trap Tyler Durden with. All that because she can't keep herself well-fed and sane. She made a film called The Bone Collector, and maybe she'll end up as bone marrow memorabilia on someone's shelf if she isn't careful. Maybe someone should schedule a mental asylum intervention with the cast of Girl Interrupted. So now with all this craziness, it looks like Brad Pitt might be chasing another single mother that's past her prime, Kate Hudson. Brad Pitt doesn't seem to be learning his lesson, so I don't feel all that bad for him if that's really the case. His blended family might become a merger between another blended family. When you have enough money to be an independently wealthy male, you can afford to be impulsive and live your life, and it's still going to end up pretty good. That's what money does. It acts like a safety net so you can fail at your family life over and over again, and still walk away whole on the other side. He's going to be getting movie roles until he's in his 80s or 90s, while she, on the other hand, is going to be going from movie studio to movie studio looking for work in Kung Fu Panda Part 10, as well as other work behind the camera. But over the next 5 to 10 years, she's going to disappear from the screen. She's lost her sex appeal, and visually she's basically going to be forgotten, and no one is going to want to look at her or date her. With regards to sexual marketplace value, she's lost her appeal, and as a result, she's going to have a lonely time ahead of her. If, as I predicted, she won't be living that long, at least that time she does have won't be that long. Right now, life is pretty bad for Angelina Jolie, because she could lose not only her attention from her fans, but her children, and there are even rumors swirling around that she's going to be hospitalized with a tube down her throat to feed her. The biggest risk to being skinny, and I didn't know this, is the possibility of heart failure. Far too often people, when dying from things like cancer and wasting away, it's not often the cancer that kills them, but it's their heart that gives up because it's been weakened too much. So at this point, there's no way to know if she's in the drop-dead danger zone. I saw another report saying that she only weighs 76 pounds. There are even rumors circulating that her hair is falling out because she's ripping it out of her scalp. Maybe this is all some elaborate scheme to get the part of the alien part in the next Ridley Scott film. Can you imagine her going to court in front of a judge weighing so little, asking him for sole custody of the kids? The judge is going to look at her like she's absolutely crazy. And who's her attorney? Billy Bob Thornton. I'm just kidding. On January the 11th, there was also another story circulating where she was struggling to raise her children on her own, and she wasn't getting enough sleep and enough to eat. She can afford nannies and babysitters to help her out, and most of her kids go to school, so she can't possibly be struggling with that. She's skinnier than Gumby, and she can't actually pick up a lunchbox, so you know that she's weak, and she's probably getting help around the mansion. Jon Voight was right when he said that she would have been institutionalized by this point if she hadn't become a famous actress. It sounds to me like it's impossible for her to function in the real world as well as the Hollywood fantasy world. Life isn't supposed to be that hard when you have that much money. Next thing you know, she's going to become a feminist and social justice warrior and declare war against the patriarchy that snatched her babies from her toothpick-like arms. And they didn't even have to take her. They just waited down below with baskets until her arms got too weak and she dropped them. Once the kids fell into cushioned baskets, they were whisked off to Brad Pitt's house. I'm getting a lot of messages from guys in the last few weeks and months telling me that one reproductive strategy guys should employ is to have kids with a woman that's certifiably insane, and that can't even look after herself or the children. Document all the insanity that goes on in your household and then file divorce papers citing that she's a danger to the children and herself, and possibly even yourself, and that you want a divorce. If you film some outbursts that are admissible in court and basically prove that she was neglecting the kids, that it's possible you could get sole custody of the children and she would be paying you child support. Wouldn't it be ironic if in the case of Pitt and Jolie, she's the one that ends up paying Brad Pitt to raise her own children, while she gets nothing more than a child visitation right here or there a few times a week? There would probably be all kinds of women's groups out there complaining about this type of situation, even if it's proven that she's unable to take care of herself or her own children. Her Maleficent character is the main evil character from Sleeping Beauty, and she plays it so well because I don't think she has to actually put too much effort into the role, just like her role in the film Girl Interrupted where she won an Oscar. Here's a hint to the Academy that wasn't acting. She would have been institutionalized if she didn't actually have her fame and fortune, and any normal person that weighs so little would probably already be in the hospital receiving mental health counseling. No wonder Brad Pitt wouldn't even touch her anymore. She didn't have any sexual organs, and touching her was like making love to Skeletor. At least it wouldn't be too hard to find the vulva if that wasn't removed. Anyways, that's all I've got to say for today. Thanks again, Dean, for your donation and letting me speak on whatever the hell I wanted. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to smash the like button and check out the MGTOW mystery link. As for everyone else out there, please follow me on Twitter or like me on Facebook to get tomorrow's video today. Thanks for taking your daily dose of red pills. And remember, a red pill a day keeps the power of Grayskull away. So enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.